Michael Jarvis is with me today to talk about his most recent win with the OKBF Tour Series. It's his second one of the season, and this time it was on the Willamette River. Congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks. It was a good time.
You've now won a tournament on a reservoir and a river, man. Do you go into those events preparing the same way, or do you have to change it up a little bit?
I think you got to change it up a little bit. Reservoirs, obviously, you can, pick some of them. Your docks or weeds or reeds or what have you. Rivers, you're just looking for current breaks, edges, cliffs, drop offs, rock piles, things like that. So different baits too.
Which one do you prefer? Like if you ever go to
I'm
tournaments.
more of a lake guy myself, largemouth guy. This
Oh,
smallmouth stuff drives me crazy.
what is it about the smallmouth you think?
I can't catch them. That's
Oh,
the big.
that'll do it.
Yeah. No, we've fished for them quite a bit. I think that's Jacob's favorite fish is a smallmouth, and I'm more of a lake guy. Years ago, I had a boat and fished more on the lakes than I would the riverside. So I just prefer lakes.
Did you go bass fishing for tournaments and boats as well?
A long time ago.
Nice.
Long time ago. I think from 98 to, I don't know, 2010, something like that.
Is there like a difference you would say, like in competition wise, like the camaraderie?
I think the kayak guys are much more friendly. You can pull up next to them. There's more camaraderie on the boat ramp and after the fact. Where I had to have a Skeeter ZX202 with a 225 on it to beat everybody to the spots. I started with a little tracker with a 60 horse on it. That lasted a year. I'm like, nope, these guys are killing me to my spots. We're done with that. So it's just a little more cutthroat in the boat world. And if people see you on a spot, because you can be anywhere on a lake in 5 or 10 minutes, depending on size. But like fishing 10 mile or whatever, you can be anywhere in like 10 minutes. So people see you fishing a spot and then you leave it, you come back later to maybe tune it up some more, and nope, there's somebody sitting there. It's like, what the, you know,
That's
it's
funny.
good times.
So being that you can like travel the lake obviously faster in a boat, do you have to prepare for events differently for that? Like when you go into pre-fishing or even just before that even? And how much area you can cover?
If you, in the kayak for sure, I'm getting a little older, so I can't go 5 miles, 10 miles. Jacob, we hit the ramp and that kid's gone. He's like, see ya. I'll see you at lunchtime or something. Like, what are you doing? But he, I don't go as far, like fishing over at, down at the river last. I only went 2 miles. I only went up 2 miles. Fishing over at Prineville, I only went 100 yards. I
Oh
didn't
well.
even, yeah, launched the boat and took a hard right and stayed right there all day.
That's funny. So
Oh,
I saw Brandon left a comment on your Facebook talking about sandbag. I know he's probably kidding, man, but is that something you do or
I do not. I hate. I am not. I put them on as soon as I can. Up where I was, I didn't have any service, so I was holding my phone up over my head, looking, trying to upload each fish, and he called me a sandbagger because he thought I caught a fish 15 minutes before lines out, which was an inch and a half upgrade, which jumped me over him. He, right before we blacked out, caught one and jumped over me. So now we're in the dark. And 15 minutes before at 2:14, tournament was over at 2:30. 2:14, I caught a inch and a half upgrade. And then he asked me on the ramp, we were at the same boat ramp. He asked me, he's like, did you call? And I said, yes, I did. And he wasn't so friendly after that. He's a great guy. He's friendly. Don't get me wrong.
he's awesome. Yeah, you won by an inch even. So you just beat him out.
He jumped over me by a quarter inch or a half inch maybe, and then I got an inch and a half upgrade. So
Cool.
it was kind of fluky. I was just trying to fish my way back to the ramp. I was drifting down. I went up, they went down, and I was coming down the river pretty much after the tournament. I knew I had 20 minutes left, so I was just hitting some spots, floating down.
That's
Trick one.
crazy. What were you using to catch most of your fish, you say?
Mostly, this is redundant with me, and people probably don't believe me, but a big TRD, a drop shot, and with this one, I was running a little 4-inch swim bait. That's what I caught that last fish on. I was just throwing around some structure, and he bit. It was totally lucky. I was losing right up to the last 15 minutes.
Dang.
It is a place that I have targeted in the past, so I knew there were fish there. But when we pre-fished it, I wasn't getting a lot of bites there. But just on passing by, threw it in there, and he decided to eat it. Like, come here to me, come on. It was good.
That's awesome, though. Is that a spot that you fish for the challenge series as well? The Willamette over there?
Challenge series. What do you mean?
Like the online events?
We have in the past, yeah. Um, I fished the Willamette this year for the, um, I call them catch as many as you can. Catch all the fish for that one. I did fish the Willamette for that because it's 14-inch minimum, and I know I can get a pile of 14 inchers out of there,
Right.
and which is what worked for me this year. I think Jacob went to the Columbia, and I went to the Willamette.
Wow. And you guys have been facing each other back and forth in those online events all season long, man. You would win and he'd win. And are you number one right now, or they call you number two yet?
I won another tournament. He's still number two. So no, he's. I think he's number one. He's going to finish number one. I think.
That challenge, yeah.
Um, we don't know the results of River Rat yet, and I was pretty far up there on top. I quit fishing River Rat on the second week of September, and then started pre-fishing for the Willamette tournament. We just went out one weekend before the tournament and pre-fished. Going into that tournament, I was hoping for 65 inches. I really was. It was a horrible pre-fish. Again, Brandon and I were talking in the morning and prior to the tournament, and he was like, "Man, I hope I catch a limit." And I was like, "Yeah, me too. I hope I get one too." And then it ended up with he and I finding some pretty good fish.
Were you guys fishing in similar areas too? Like throughout the
He
day?
went he went downriver. We launched out of Newburgh, and he went down and I went up. And like I said, there's a little bit of current flow. It wasn't horrible. It was worse the week before, way worse. A lot of current the week before. So I was only picking up some 12s, 13s, that kind of stuff. And we saw him up, and come tournament day, he went down, I went up, and I just found a little seam that kicked out some fish for me.
And they were all on drop shots and the Ned rigs and swim baits, you said,
Yeah,
right?
I was just sitting in a big backwater, casting out to the edge of the seam and just drifting it through. I had about a 150 yard stretch where I could just drop down and come back up and drop. I had that on both sides of the river.
Huh.
So I got two spots. I'm the only one that went up in the morning. I was the only guy up there, and I'm like, oh, geez, here we go again. I'm all over again. But it worked out.
Yeah, the oak wall. I mean, what happened there? I
Oh, geez.
heard you took a risk and just kind of bit you a little bit.
Yeah, my wife's going to kill me. Well, she always yells at me. So before every tournament, I kind of tell her how I was fishing, what I think I should do, and she's like, "Yeah." She doesn't fish, so I just bounce it off of her. She's like, "Sure, do whatever." And my plan was to go to the main Umpqua, catch a limit, and then load my boat and go over to the Smith River. We went down the weekend before, and we caught 70-inch limits on the Umpqua. Well, and then we're like, hey, let's go over to the Smith. We got both rivers. Let's just go play in there. So I went over there, was out there for about an hour and a half, and I caught an 18.5 inch largemouth.
Jeez.
So come tournament day, we were all in the parking lot there in Deans Creek, and I thought I was, parked well to get out of the parking lot first. Yeah, that failed. Everybody beat me out of the I'm like, oh geez. So there was 4 or 5 of us left, and everybody turned right to go to the two upper ramps up the river. And William Eshelman turned left, and I was like, fair enough, let's turn left. So I went to the Smith, got there. The water was still coming in, maybe a little high tide, maybe a little high slack, and hanging out, waiting for the lines in. And about the time lines in, that water turned and just started ripping out, and I was like, I'm in trouble.
Oh boy.
But I was there to get bigger fish. I did exactly backwards, and that's what my wife still to this day is like, stick to the plan, because the plan was. So yeah, that one's on me. Last second decision. Let's go try that. I'll reverse the plan and see how it works out. And I failed
Oh
catastrophically.
man. So that's the plan, is to catch a limit and then coal up.
That's the plan, was to go to the Umpqua, get a limit, and then go, midday or whatever, go to the Smith and try to get a couple kicker fish.
Right.
And I did it backwards, caught nothing there. I think I got two, like 11 inchers or something. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Loaded up, went to the Umpqua, and I caught like 6 fish, but I think the biggest one was like 11 and a half. So I was like, I'm done. I'm wiped out.
Were you prepared for the current at all? Did you know that that was going to be an issue?
Yeah, we were down there the weekend prior. And when we launched the weekend prior, it was totally low tide. We almost couldn't, we had to walk the kayaks out in the middle of the river before we could get in them. And there were a couple boats at the ramp, and they're like, oh, we'll wait a little bit. It's too shallow. We'll wait for, the water to rise, and then we can launch. And they did. About an hour later, they came down and said hi to us again. But we walked them out, and on the incoming tide, we were just drilling them. It was like, well, this is easy. All right, we'll get out of here. Yeah, famous last words right there. Didn't fare too well. But that was the gamble. And me and William Eshelman were sitting over on the ramp at the Smith and, talking. And I said, well, roll of the dice. We're either going to be right up there for Angler of the Year, or we're going to bomb out. And we bombed out. I
Oh
didn't.
man.
He did okay. He caught a couple, but. And knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't have left. I would have stayed there for once the tide was out and shifting to come back in, because I didn't get anything on the Umpqua either. So
Really?
nothing really to shake a stick at. I didn't weigh a fish. So yeah, it was whoops.
That happens.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just out there having fun, trying to do what I can do. Just an
For
old
sure.
basser out there trying to catch a fish. That's all I'm doing.
What kind of kayak are you fishing out of?
I have an Old Town. I bought one of the Gray Ghost limited edition PDL 120s.
You liking
That'll
it?
love it, love it. Those things are. I'm not the guy with the greatest balance, or whatever, but those things do awesome on the Columbia. They're fantastic. Very little side to side and front to back's not a problem. They're awesome. Jacob stands up on his, and the biggest waves on the Columbia scares me to death, but I have trouble sitting in mine. Okay.
Right.
you know, but no, that when we got those, I think we got them like July of last year, and when we got those, that kind of changed the whole dynamic of fishing. Don't more hands free. Just really kind of changed our fortunes for us about this time last year, and stepped up after that.
Sure. Using on a light scope or just
No,
regular?
I just have a Lowrance triple shot,
Oh yeah.
which is side scan, down scan. It did the side scan worked for me over at Primeville. I just was paddling along. About an hour before uh, cutoff for pre-fishing day, I found this line of rocks underwater, like an old fence line, and threw out there, caught a couple, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to start here tomorrow. And then we put them on the truck, went out there, refound those rocks, and did them. Just same
So
thing,
yeah,
back and forth about 150 yards, and just picked them off.
that's great. And you won that one too,
Yeah,
Prineville Reservoir. I've never had any luck
yeah.
in Prineville. Like, I always skunk out of that one 3 times that I've been there. I've never caught a single fish out of that place.
I was double checking some of my fish to make sure. I was looking at, you can look at scale patterns and colorations, but I didn't see that any looked the same. And obviously the judges were like, yep, you're good. My lengths were all different though, too. I had
Right.
like a 15 and a half, a 15, a 14 and three quarter, four. I mean, I had like one of everything. So I'm like, yep, these aren't the same fish. It was good.
Man, those guys probably judge so many fish. I bet they can see differences and similarities pretty fast, I would think. I don't know.
I think so. If you, I don't, they put them up on a computer monitor. I'm just looking at the stupid things on my phone. But you can see some of them have scratches or, broken fin or its eyes half hanging out, or there's all kinds of different things with them. You can kind of tell if you caught the same fish twice. It'll have marks. I look at the mouth. If the mouth's all ripped up, and some of the ones I catch are all ripped up, I'm like, oh, you've been caught before, but hopefully not today.
By me, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you qualified for the KF&W Kayak Bass Classic. Are you gonna head out that way? I guess what
We
next week?
are. Yeah.
Couple weeks.
Yeah. We're leaving Saturday. 2 days, 3 days, whatever. Take mom on a little vacation to, sunny Idaho. Here you go, honey.
Cool.
And then, yeah, go over there. We're going to pre fish and just get acclimated to the area and find her a Starbucks or do the best we can to find one.
Right. She's
You
got
know,
the money in the mail key, man.
I don't, she has the mail key. Okay. And we share an account. So she just slides a check in front of me and says, sign this. And then that's gone. As far as I know, that's gone.
Right.
And then, I'm a little bit of, hey, I need a couple bucks to buy some baits or something. And well, you just bought some, like that.
I
All
just signed a check too.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just signed that for you. I just want like $100. No, it's not like that. She's the greatest. She does so much for us. Gets our hotel rooms, plans our camping spots, and does the whole 9 yards. Brandon calls her my admin team.
He's funny. That's
Yeah.
good though to have support like that, especially in something like this. It's hectic. All the
Oh, it's
travel days and
yeah, yeah. Last year we were fishing. We were trying to bear hunt and fish at the same time, and we missed a couple deadlines on joining some tournaments. So we heaped that responsibility on her. You got to let us know when we got to sign up. We need a place to stay. But she's great about it. It's awesome.
that
When
is
the
awesome.
schedule comes out, she's just like, okay, we're staying here, 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 and here. We've never been there. I hope this campground's nice. And I'm like, I don't care. I just need a place to lay my head.
Right. That's awesome. You just
So
show up.
that's that's it right there.
That's cool. Have you fished Dorshak before? Or Idaho in general?
I've never been, back in the day with the boat, it was more 10-mile silk goose, taconage, a lot of lake fishing, a little bit of river, a lot of lake. We did go, I went to Clear Lake once, did a couple, I don't even remember where they were, up in Washington. But yeah, I have never been to Idaho. That's why we're kind of leaving a little bit early. Want to go out and map some of the area just on reading the bottom and maybe throw a little line and see if we can get a couple where they're hiding or what they're doing, or I don't know. It's probably going to be like 300 feet deep and somewhere where I don't fish. I'm sure.
Right. It'd take about a half hour for a Ned rig to get down there.
Right, right. And have to put a 16-ounce ball on the bottom of it, get it down there, give them a drop shot down there.
It's a football jig, Ned rig.
Yeah. So that's, it's the two places I did the worst. Wallula, they were both rivers. Wallula and the down on the Umpqua. Never been before, so it was an experience. We went down and tried to do a little bit of pre-fishing, and we didn't get to pre-fish Wallula, so got there, did that, miserable failure, and then did pre-fish the uh, Umpqua, but told you about that mistake. And now
Yeah.
here we go again to another place I've never been. So we'll see if I blank or not. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's a reservoir at least.
Right. Reservoir I've never been to. But
That's
no,
funny.
we'll go have fun. Always fun. It's always an adventure. Whether we win, lose, or draw, it's just fun to be there. And this community of fishing with these guys, it's awesome, really. They're
It's been
all,
fun to watch, that's for sure.
yeah, they're
Especially
all,
like the Facebook comments, like the whole community. It's been fun.
yeah, they're all a bunch of hammers. I mean, it's tough to get a win. Really good
Oh yeah.
fishermen. They have really good sense of humors. They have really good personalities. It's just it's just a great group of guys to just hang out with. And sometimes we camp with them. Sometimes we don't. You know, well, I have
Right.
a camper, so we're always in a campground
Oh,
and a pull behind. So we're always in a campground. If they can't find an Airbnb, they're in a campground, and then we hang out and talk. And you know, it's just they're so easy going. It's really cool.
that's awesome. Well, for camping, do you have like a meal that you usually prep for? Like just like a camping meal?
The wife calls it camping dinner. It's got like corn and noodles in it, and some chicken in it. And after a cold day out on the water or out hunting, it's very good. I
Sounds
won't eat
good.
it like on a regular day at home, but if we're out hunting and fishing, I'll chow it down.
Cool. That's
And
fun. Yeah,
mainly it's hot dogs.
hot dogs. I've been there. For sure. Did you have any goals that you met for this 2024 season?
I had two, met them both. I wanted to qualify and I wanted to go over 200 in the 50-50. And last
Heck
I
yeah.
checked, I think I was 201 and we're going to Dwarshag.
Cool. So Jacob got in too. Right, he won that.
I don't,
Has been
like, we
posted.
got to wait for the 50-50 thing. We got to wait for the river rat thing. That's what I was like, man, come on, let us know.
Right.
I'm sure he's in. He had a pretty sizable lead over everybody in online angler of the year. And then he's 200 and whatever inches and 50-50. I'm not even, kid's a
It's
maniac.
a crazy amount, dude. He's been fishing hard.
Well, like I said, we launch and then he disappears. The only time I see him is if he's yelling at me from the other side of the lake, come take a picture or something. Get a picture of this. He's holding up this giant bass. Like, oh, okay. So I have to wear myself out paddling over to take a picture of his fish. Nah, he's
Strap him.
he's a hoot.
He's good. I like him. I liked our conversation. He's an intelligent kid for sure.
No, he is. Yeah, he just started his master's degree in fisheries science at Oregon State, like I think
Cool.
this week. So, got to try to find some internet over there. We're going to stay in Orofino. We got to try to find some internet so he can do some homework, or he's really going to have some homework to do when he gets home.
Oh man, I heard it was tough over the internet. Who was telling me that? I don't remember. They said the internet's pretty spotty.
We already had a plan that somewhere midweek, again, go to maybe a bigger town somewhere so they can go to Starbucks, McDonald's, somewhere that has some Wi Fi. So Mom can check in at work, and he can do his homework.
Sure. I already got everything planned out, man.
That's that's how it is. It's almost like we have an itinerary every time we go somewhere. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And about after about the first 5 minutes, it's all blown to hell, and who knows what's going to happen.
That was my next question. How strict are you to sticking to it?
Yeah.
I went to a luau once, I think. That was the only had the entire itinerary one time.
Yep.
That was it. Door Shack Challenge Series. Did you have anything you want to add?
What's that?
Did you have anything you want to add?
Uh, no, it's been a great year. Um, Having a great time. This has been fun. You learned from Jacob. It took a little while for me to get into it, but now here I am, and um, it's like I said, it's been a good time.
Sure. And the competition is super strict. I mean, you won 2 tournaments. You had that one with Error and Umpqua, and the AOI was Mario won the AOI, and I don't even think he won an event, did he, this year?
I don't think so, but he was pretty consistent up there in the 90s. Um, Kind of tailed off a little bit on the Willamette, but he had a big enough lead, going into it. Anthony Booth came charging up. That kid,
Yeah.
rookie of the year, and got top three
Two
angler of the year.
runner
He
ups.
just came flying up the rankings.
He did, man. I'm excited to see what he does outdoor shack too. All of you guys, really. I mean, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun to watch
Yeah, it's just a bunch of hammers going out there to see who can see who can do it. We'll see.
for 2 days on a pretty popular body of water.
Yeah, yeah. I think everybody but me's been there. Maybe me and Anthony are the only ones that haven't been there, but that's why
You
we
gotta
gave
get
ourselves a little extra time.
it. Right. That's awesome. You have any goals for next year already? You just still just trying to get through this year.
I kind of want to see. There's some things in the mix with KF&W. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it or not, but there's some things going on. Got to see how it lays out for next year. They were talking about a little bit about reducing the amount of online events or possibly no online events.
Oh,
I mean, they mentioned that to us at our weigh in at the river, so obviously it must be public
right.
knowledge. So I don't know if it'll just be 50/50s and more live stuff, or if they get rid of the onlines, we'll just go hit more states. I'll hit all the, I'll hit everybody's stuff.
That was my other question. You plan on fishing out of Oregon?
Yeah, well, and that's Trey Potts came down and stole one. Watching you, Trey Potts. I was giving him a hard time at this last tournament on the Willamette, but might be up there with you next year, Trey Potts. Might go to his fish some of his stuff. If they don't, if the onlines are gone, because we're weekend warriors, but it's pretty close to every weekend we get out there. We'll go out, and if we set the bar pretty high, then we'll go look for new water until somebody gets close, and then go fishing again. So with that, we'll just have to see how it all shakes out for onlines and tour events. And if they get rid of the online again, we fish almost every weekend, spring to fall. So if they do that, then no online's fine. We'll go to Washington. I don't know about Idaho. That's a pull to get over there to fish maybe one or two. I don't know. We'll
Oh
see.
yeah, you guys are in the Portland area, right?
Yeah,
Or
even southwest of there. We're between Salem and Portland and closer to the coast a little bit.
oh wow.
Yam Hill, a little tiny town,
Oh,
1,300 people or something.
that's crazy. That's a journey, yeah, all the way to Idaho.
Yeah.
It's what 6 hours to get to Oregon alone.
Anytime we want to go somewhere and fish, it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours to the coast. It's couple hours to the. Although Newburgh, the Willamette's like 20 minutes. We just couldn't get the big giants out of there, so we started going up to the big river a little bit and heading further east. You'll try to find some of them bigger smallmouth.
Is that primarily smallmouth in the Willamette?
There are some largemouth and there's some big largemouth in there, but hard to find.
Huh.
Hard to find those. I think I posted a couple last year, 18s and stuff out of there, largemouth and 18-inch smallmouth. You just can't find the magnum size like you get out of the Columbia. So we have to take a
That's
little
crazy.
trip. But my brother-in-law lives in Boardman, so that's right over by the Umatilla
Oh yeah.
area. So
I think that's like 20 minutes from me.
that's for I don't want to call it free room and board, but we got a place to stay.
That's a fun place to fish. Have you fished out at Wallula? Like, you have fished Wallula, obviously, but towards like the Snake River.
I have not. With that, the Wallula tournament was the first time we'd ever been up there. Last year, when we went to Umatilla, was the first time we'd ever been there. This year, we concentrated more on the onlines, and next year, our plan is to maybe hit the lives with a better plan, with a better pre-fish, with a better, really go after that instead of spend. We would go fish 2 weeks for an online and then, tournament time, drive to the tournament, get our butts kicked, turn around and then go go back to the online stuff.
So you guys
So,
are fishing almost every weekend, like you said. Then at that point,
oh yeah, I think we were grounded last weekend, kind of. Mom said enough's enough. You guys have enough. So yeah, we kind of had some honeydews.
oh
You
man,
know, that's
oh
who
yeah,
sponsors me. Honeydew. My honeydew list sponsors me.
you don't want to mess that up.
Right, right. And I'm about a year behind on all that. So
Oh, it's only a
keep them
year.
sponsor. You got to keep them guessing. Keep them sponsors guessing.
You got your own side projects come out of nowhere too.
Right. Exactly.
So when do you start transitioning to hunting season? Do you do both during the year, or do you use it one or the other?
In the past, we tried to double up. We spring bear hunted, fall bear hunted, deer hunted, elk hunted. I used to hunt about 7 months out of the year. And
Oh
if
wow.
if they had a tag, I was chasing whatever it was. We ran into that last year. So this year, the plan is we're going to Dwarshak and then coming home Sunday night. And then the following Friday night, we'll leave. And, we do a lot of hunting way down in Southern Oregon. So, got to go head down there. I think the season's 5 weeks long. So it'll leave us 3 weekends to hunt. But it's usually, as you can see behind me, it's
Yeah.
usually not a problem.
I could find deer all year until hunting season. I don't see anything.
Yeah. Well, once everybody goes out there, they start beating them off the roads. A lot of people road hunt for them. We do a lot
Mm.
of hiking, and I do have a rifle here that it's 1,000-yard gun, so they
Oh,
can back off as far as they want, as long as it's a grand and under. If we have to, we'll walk in there a couple hundred yards.
that's crazy. How long did it take you to get like pretty precise with that? Like 1,000 yards.
It's an ongoing. We're
Oh wow.
pretty precise. Jacob shot a deer last year at 788 yards. Dropped it one shot, hammered it, fell over backwards. Like, done. Nice work. And then
Whoa.
we were driving around to go get it, and all the gates were locked. And there's a sign right there that says, "Hey, our gates are open," and they were all locked. So I called the guy. We had to hike in 2.5 miles each. 2.5 miles in, about a half mile down in the canyon, get the deer, 2.5 miles back out. And then the
Oh
guy
man.
called me on the way home Sunday evening, and he was like, That should have been open. I don't know why that gate was open. And I'm like, well, we got our deer. We
Yeah, or
want.
exercise.
You can walk behind the gates. They just don't want you driving back there unless they open them. And then they didn't open it. And it was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Man,
It was a
but some
nice little hike.
stories are cool.
It was a nice little hike. It was fun.
Have you seen those like electric bikes? Have you like, thought about getting one of those for like hunting season?
My family that we hunt with down in Southern Oregon always have a place to stay. I got family in Southern Oregon. So my family that lives down there, they have the Rambo bikes, and
Okay.
some of it's an e-bike, and some of those um, property owners even ban those
Oh,
because it's electric, which can spark, which can burn all their trees down. So they get a little. If you use a pedal bike, and there's some places you can go in on top and then leave your truck at the top and one at the bottom and pedal down with a regular bike, and probably kill some giants if you're trying that out.
I never even thought about that.
But those Rambo bikes are 6 grand or something like that. You know,
Wow.
I have a real expensive hobby. It's out in the garage. We float around on them. You know, I don't need I don't need another one. We spend plenty of money around here.
Are you upgrading kayaks or are you good with the one you got? I mean, and I don't know if they're making new ones or not.
On my no, I love my kayak. I'll run that thing till it sinks.
Okay.
I love that thing, or cracks, or I don't think old towns have a problem at all with cracking, or I'll just run it till it blows. I got the wife half convinced that maybe I need a torpedo or something on the back. If I'm getting old, I need
Right?
I need a motor.
You should definitely have a torpedo or four, I think.
That's right.
Two on the front, two on the back.
Yeah, or just an NK 300 or something. But you don't talk about those things until it's time to talk about. You talk about too much stuff, then you don't get any of it. Marriage
Right. This is the
advice.
advice that I needed years ago.
That's right. I've been married for a while.
Not your first rodeo, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Would you ever go back into the boat world of fishing?
I don't mind it. It's just it's stressful. I have talked about it a little bit, but they're not giving those boats away nowadays. But I think the one I had a 2000, and it was 35,000 back in 2000. And I look at them
Wow.
now, and they're like 80 grand, 100 grand, and I'm like, who wants to spend that money?
It's
You know,
crazy.
I'm having a grand old time. I feel like you have to be a better fisherman to fish out of a kayak than you do a boat.
Hmm.
Because if you go to your spot and your fish aren't there, or you feel like, you see the boats, they go there, they throw out there about 5 times, like, shit, they're not here. Throw all their rods on the deck, rip the trolling motor up, fire that thing up 70 miles an hour somewhere else. So you just get to hit like 50 different spots a day. In a kayak, you get like five. Make your
Yeah.
plan and stick to it. So even if the fish have moved offshore or they're shallow or deep or structure, you got to know what they're doing. In a boat, you can just go find a warmer part of the lake or something, fish that, or deeper. It's so fast. That one I had ran about 75 miles an hour, and we could go, like I said, we'd be anywhere. Snap, you want to go over there? Sure. Okay. Just eating the fuel. I think that thing
Oh,
got 4 miles
man.
to the gallon. And when I sold it is when the last time gas went to $5 a gallon. I'm like, I can't fill the
Yeah.
truck, the boat, the oil, the licensing, the everything. They're so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
I just like
Entry fees are more too, right? In the boat world?
is what?
Are the entry fees more too?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
They were, well, I would say not. I think the last I fished like American bass, Bass West. I think it was 150 a boat, back then, which was my non-boater, 75 from him and 75 from me, about comparable
Yeah.
as to what we're doing right now.
I
But
think it's still the same price. I just saw it today. I think it was 120.
yeah, I don't, all those little circuits, they turn over. I don't even know if the ones that I used to fish are still a thing. I know BASS is. I did a couple of those as a non-boater and I think one or two as a boater. But I was just having, I fished a lot of opens, um, early season, bassing for bucks and stuff at 10 Mile. And we always went to the Lions Club on, um, drawing a blank here, on Silk Goose. Every June, we'd go to Silk Goose. We already had that all planned out. We go fish the Lions Club tournament there. The payouts weren't huge, but they were getting money for Lions Club and always out trying to just hit all the opens that we could. And then, like I said, with my partner, with his home life, my wife's always, yeah, go away. I think she doesn't like me. And then, the other normal wives are like, no, you're staying home. Like, so we didn't get to hit every single one, but we did a lot for a lot of years. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I do
So you
not
talk a
miss,
lot about like
what's that?
do you have any like tips for like Silk Coast and those coastal lakes? Man, I always struggle with those places.
Yes. That's my answer. Yes. Um, Most of those places, fish docks. When the sun comes up, fish the shady side of the dock. Um, like silk goose and stuff, fish the reeds. Always along the shoreline. The whole place is covered in reeds. So if you can find a piece of wood in the reeds, you're set.
Right.
Drop a Senko or a jig in there, go to work. I've never really fished those deep water at like silk goose. I always had areas that I did well in, and they're still viable today.
Really?
I did pretty well, not great, but did pretty good. Hadn't fished it in 20 years, and went and fished silk goose and got six. We went and pre-fished it, and Jacob got a couple good ones, and then I did okay in pre-fish, and then did better at the tournament. You just got to slow down. Run a spinnerbait. If you can throw a spinnerbait clear to the back of those reeds and just bring it through, and your spinnerbait will be doing this coming through, they can't stand that. They can't see that thing going through there at all kinds of different angles. They'll kill it.
Interesting. I don't even think about throwing a spinnerbait. I have a bunch. I don't know why. It never crosses my mind.
Tie one on and throw it in the back of those reeds and pull it through. I guarantee you'll catch fish.
Cool.
And
Are they
sometimes
mostly smallmouth and largemouth and those too on the coast or
largemouth. I don't even
no?
think there's any smallmouth in those three over there.
Okay.
It's all a largemouth factory. And 10 Mile back in the day, like I said, 2000, they were holding 4 or 5 tournaments a weekend on that place. Parking lot completely full. It was jammed. Unless there was an open. I think the opens are like, nah, we're having some of those we got into were 75 or 100 boats.
Wow.
Yeah, it
That's
was it
crazy.
was good times back in the day, and I'm having, like I said, I'm having a blast. I'm slowing down, so let's just slow down. Let's slow the kayak down. All these guys running around with their motors. Hey, slow down. Wait for Mike. He's gotta go. He's gotta go get some stuff.
That's funny.
Luckily, we get that 5 minutes head start.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't want any shotgun stuff. I'll just stop and fish the ramp if we're doing that.
I'm not doing it. That's funny. I forgot what I was gonna ask. Oh, you've been fishing this area for a long time, Oregon anyway. Have you noticed any like changes in the bass, like the populations or the growth in the size or the amount of people fishing for them? I guess.
Uh, I think a place like 10 Mile and Silk Goose, on any given cast down there, you can catch a giant. They're always big fish in there. Will always be big fish in there. Silk Goose has a like a coho run, and I think it has kokanee in it, which just make giant bass. So every year somebody will catch 7, 8, 9 pounder out of Silk Goose. It's
Gee,
yeah. I broke one off in a tournament once upon a time. I know it was 10 pounds.
dang.
He
What is your PB?
9.4, 9.2, 9. We'll call it 9.
Gee. That was in Oregon too?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
9 pounder.
9.
How'd you manage that? Like,
That was out of a boat. I think the biggest I've caught out of kayaks about 6,
thanks.
but
Largies or
largemouth. Yeah, I have a 7 pound smallmouth out of a boat too.
jeez.
Yeah.
Is it just repetition or do you know he was there?
That the 7 pound smallmouth was over at Hag Lake way back in the day, and we were out. It used to only be open from March 1st, I think, until November 30th, and then it would close December, January, February. So we went out. We'd go out on the opener. Now it's open year round, but we would go out on the opener in March and just fishing main lake points, and I was drop shotting it and just felt the little, bonk, and I hit it and pretty much just reeled him up. He was still cold. Brought him right to the boat. As soon as he got to the boat, he got a little anxious, made a little run back down, but brought him right back up and put him in the net. Did everything, weights and measures, and um, called a couple taxidermists. I was going to have him taxidermied, but nobody wanted to do it. So I took him back to the lake and released him because he was in my live well.
I don't know. Here.
So he was still swimming around in there.
In the live well, a sudden found him.
Well, no, he was still swimming around. He's still in Hag, as far as I know, unless somebody
Oh,
else got him. But
oh
no, he
boy.
was totally alive in my live well. I called. I have a preferred taxidermist. He's like, "Yeah, we don't do fish anymore." So I'm like, "All right, well, I'm just going to cut him loose then." And I lived 15 minutes from the lake. Even right now, I only live half an hour from the lake.
Hag Lake.
Hag Lake, yeah, it's just not my favorite lake. Brandon
I've
loves it,
visited a few
but
times.
not my favorite lake in the whole wide world.
I think
And
yeah, I
there are
fished it
some
twice. It was
giants
one of
in
the
there,
first lakes that I
largemouth and
fished for
small.
bass, actually.
It's a really good lake. Back in the day, you go out, catch 20, 10 inchers, and maybe get a 2 pounder. But now it sounds like it's coming back around. So we might have to make a trip out there. It sounds like it's doing way better now than it used to be.
Have there been any hints for what's on the 2025 schedule? I know they usually talk about that, but
No, not that. I think we're just trying to get through the 2024 schedule. You
right.
know, um, yeah. I think when do we get like December, or January? We usually hear more about where we're going. I think takes
It's
a little
usually
while. I know they
January.
have. What's that?
Idaho can't even say anything until after the 31st of December, I think. Like the state itself doesn't allow it.
Well, and I don't know because of permitting and all the stuff our Marvin and the tournament directors do. Thank you guys. All the stuff they do behind the scenes. I don't even. I know they have to get permits and they have to. They look at the master schedules for the states and try to schedule us when there's not a 50 boat tournament going on out there. So there's the job those guys do is awesome. So I
For sure.
know it's going to take a minute to put all that together, but no, I usually don't know until they, just come out with it. But if it's up to me, let's go to Central Oregon and the Willamette because I won the last two Central Oregons and the one on the river. So that's where I want to
No bias at all. Just that's where the good fishing is.
go. Right? We go to Central Oregon, catch a bunch of 12 inchers. But it's like that over here too. The river was very similar to that.
Right.
Tough. We just found some. I tricked a couple into biting that weren't normal.
Is there an event that stuck out more than others? Not for necessarily where you finished, but just like the amount of fun of the fishing.
I always liked the coastal lakes, always, and we went over to Prineville for a little bit of extra time and hung out over there, and it was just fun to go. A day or two before the tournament, day or two after the tournament. Once the tournament's over, we usually don't even go back on the water. We went over there, did that, but the next day it was just like, let's hang out. We have to drive home later, but let's sleep until they throw us out of here, and then we'll go home. Nice easy ride home. We always usually, I don't think we're going to do it at Door Shack, but usually we'll buy the extra day. So tournament day is over, then we just kick back, relax, hang out, spend the night again, and then leave the next morning. So we always pay for one extra day of camping just so we can do that. And it's still up in the air whether or not we're going to do that at Dwarshak. She keeps
It's
talking
worth
about
it,
work,
man.
but work,
It's not going anywhere.
yeah, it'll be there whether we get home on Monday or Tuesday. It'll still be there.
Always.
Yeah.
Mhm. This was Matt Burdick's first year as TD. And how good of a job do you think he was doing?
I think he did a really good job. The grading fish, him looking at, I got a couple warnings. I'm not going to lie. Close to the eye, close to the gill plate. I wasn't under any of them, but I did get a couple warning. Maybe one that didn't go. They're like, nope. I take multiple pictures of every fish. So if you don't like that one, fine. We'll eject that one and send another. Does this one look better? Kind of deal. So no,
How
I
do you
thought,
keep those organized?
what's that? Yeah,
How do
right.
you keep all those photos organized?
Usually I'll take 5 or 6 pictures of a fish and then I'll take a picture of the front of my boat. So
Yeah.
every group and then the front of my boat and then a group and then the front of my boat or my shoes or, like an otter swimming in the water or something. There's
I've seen
always
so many
something.
feet this year, man. I could probably identify people by their shoe wear, their toes.
Right. Right. That's how I don't even, we don't even need codes on there anymore. Just look at my shoes.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I just segregate all of them by the picture of the front of my boat. And then once they're all accepted, then I spend X amount of minutes going through there, deleting all the ones that, because I, the picture that I sent, and then I'll delete everything around those and the picture of the front of my boat. So I don't know how many pictures of fish are on my phone right now. Got to be several hundred.
Gotta be. I
Got
just deleted all mine from 2019. It was over 1,000. I was like, holy cow, dude.
that was something I was going to do at the beginning of this year. I'm like, I'm going to take a picture of every fish I catch. Yeah, that didn't last very long. Just to see how many do I get in a year. No, no.
It almost becomes a hassle. Huh?
Oh, it was just dreadful. There were so many fish on there, and I'm like, no, nope, we're canceling this right now.
From a distance, they all look the same too. Like, man, what am I doing here?
Right. And then you got to open each one and look at them, and it's just like, ugh, nope, not doing it. And that's why I take a picture of the front of my boat or something. Because then, if you get two 18 and 18s or something, I don't like we were talking, I don't want to submit the same fish. So I make sure I have something in between them. And usually it's just take a bunch of pictures down here and then just click right on the front of my boat. And you just see the whole nose of the kayak. I'm like, yep, that's my differentiation. Next fish, come on. And like I
Man,
said, I don't sandbag even the day of. I don't wait until the end of the day. I get one, it's going on right now. If I have service, it's going up right now.
That's
So
how I am too, because I'll get nervous that I'll forget or I'll misplace it or anything can go wrong.
right, I caught that one late in the blackout period. I think that's why Brandon called me a sandbagger. Thought I was holding one back. And I'm like, no, man.
He's just funny dude, man.
He's a great guy. He cracks me up.
So be back next year for sure.
I will be, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then with Jacob
Jacob
too, yeah.
will be. I think he graduates. I think he only has to do 1 year of master's degree. I think. I don't know.
Wow.
Don't quote me on anything because. But if he just does his 1 year, then he might. He was talking about staying in Oregon, but with fishery science or wildlife sciences, when you're the low guy on the stick, you don't know where you're going to go. He's going to be a
Right.
wildlife biologist. He could go to who knows.
Super cool future for him for sure, man.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Set
That's
up.
future's bright for yes. I
It's
got
awesome though.
two of them that are finishing college right now.
Cool. I got one that just started and then one that's getting ready to graduate high school here soon.
Yeah, congratulations. You're as broke as I am now.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's wide open fish. I talk about it.
Right. Just say
Broke
they're
fish.
college and high school. It's all you need to say.
Yeah. And the other one's pregnant. I'm gonna be a
Oh,
grandpa.
perfect.
Right?
Yeah, you'll have no money coming right up.
Ugh. I need a vacation first.
Well, that's what I did the boat thing, and then they started traveling basketball, traveling softball, volleyball, traveling wrestling. The whole and the writing was on the wall. Hey, you can leave the boat in the driveway, or you can go ahead and sell it.
Right.
So I had to sell. I didn't want to see it just sitting there, not getting used. So just
That
divert
happens. That's
money.
real life events.
Yeah, just had to
Like
divert
auto
money
damage.
from that over this way.
Yep. And wrestling season's long. It was a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be.
Yes, and they did well, and he would hit camps and opens, and he would play football. As soon as school started, he would play football, and then as soon as football season ended, they had what was called a dead week. You're not allowed to work out or get ready for your next sport. And as soon as dead week was over, it was right into wrestling. So it went from November to April. And then,
Man,
okay,
nonstop.
we got a couple weeks left. Let's go chase some bears around. It's just our whole life's just crazy. Like it's always, if it's not wrestling, it's fishing or hunting or who knows. We're always camping. We're always doing something.
It's good for you.
Yeah,
Keeps the mind busy.
and the pocket's empty.
Yeah, that's okay. Money's just trouble too, you know?
No, it's really good time. The older ones that don't live here pretty much they'll go camping with us and stuff on occasion or show up at a tournament and just to just to go hang out. It's good.
Very cool. Very cool. I think that's all I have. Did you have anything else or
No, you're breaking it.
oh sorry. Hear me now?
Yep, good now.
Okay. I don't think I have anything more. Do you have anything else you want to add to this?
No, thanks for having me on. Um, thanks to
Thanks for
Jacob
being on.
for pushing me all year long or wearing me out all year long. And thank you to my wife for allowing us to go do this all the time.
That's
I
funny.
think I got to put a mom sticker on my boat or wife or whatever.
Just
That's
get a tattoo.
she's our primary sponsor, wife.
It's good to have though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I just gotta sneak that mail key away from her, and then everything will be good.
Let's make a duplicate, but then like hide the third one somewhere.
Right, exactly, exactly what needs to happen. But no, I think I'm looking forward to next. I'm really looking forward to see what we can do over at Dwarshak. I hope that's a really good time, and it's going to be all those guys. It's a great group of guys heading over there. This whole kayak community's awesome. So it'll be fun to go hang out with those guys for a while, and then looking forward to what they throw at us next year. And like I said, it's kind of up in the air what we're going to do or how much we'll be able. We'll hit all the tour stuff. It's just whether it's just in Oregon or we run around a little bit.
But fishing's gonna happen.
So there will be some fishing. We'll sign up if they have the 50-50 thing. We'll sign up for that, and maybe the KF&W 50-50, and do a little more of those. And I think maybe the individual events might not be as uh, prominent next year, but that's still up in the air also.
Sure. Well, thanks for coming on and telling us how it went and your stories, man. I appreciate
That's just, yeah. I got out there and got lucky a couple times. That's about it.
it. That's really how it goes, huh?
Yeah, right?
Let's see.